Unfiltered opinion.
Let's kick things off. Let's get the show on the road.
Side story. 98, our currency's collapsing. I'm in Mozambique. I pull out as well. They're like, no, we don't take so.
Our local market long-term. I would certainly have the champagne in the fridge and definitely cool.
On ice. Always been of the view that we need a sovereign wealth fund inside Market Matters live stream. I'm Jimmy Moyara.
And I'm Simon Brown.
Welcome to Insider Exchange.
Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Insider Exchange. Welcome to Market Matters, live streamed for your viewing pleasure every Monday morning, of course, with the rest of the show set to drop later in the week. If you're joining us via chat, if you're joining us via live stream, shout out to our TikTok community. We'd love to have you guys engage with us. Let us know your thoughts, share your opinions, and generally just say hi. We miss hearing from you guys sometimes. On the show today, we are going to be taking a look at some of the developments that have taken place over the last week. We're going to be reflecting on the appointment of the BlackRock CEO, Larry Fink, as co-chair of the World Economic Forum. We're also going to be taking a look at some other developments from markets that have been out in the week. In particular, we're going to be focusing on numbers that are coming out this week. We've got results from the likes of Sasol and Nvidia, both locally and internationally, that we want to take a look at. So that's what's coming up on our show from a Market Matters perspective. In our deep dive, we're going to be diving into the Jackson Hole Symposium. We're going to be reflecting on that, reviewing our thoughts around that particular gathering, and we're going to see what we make of the recent policy shift from the US Fed. And then, of course, in Investor Insights, we're going to wrap things up with some very interesting information around some of the other things that we've been picking up in the media space. And we're going to update our wall and provide you with an unfiltered opinion. So stick around for those. Obviously, those are coming through later in the week. But let's get into the show. Before we get into the show, we've gotten past the Irish names. We're now on to Scottish names. And again, there was a technical mishap with yours. So yours should actually be spelt Calder. I don't know how that came out.
Calder. I got paddle with a C.
You got paddle with a C. But yes, Calder is one of the names, seemingly one of the simpler names. I got Eachan, which is each with an AN at the end. But that's not how you say it. And I've been trying to rack my brain around how to say it. And it seems as though it's something to the effect of Echen.
Sure.
So Scottish names is what we're moving on to, because we kind of exhausted the Irish ones. We went through all the difficult ones. So we're going to keep seeing if we can keep finding the difficult names. Let us know if you have suggestions and thoughts around what we should put next on the cups. And if you find a name that we probably haven't used or haven't tried, let us know that as well. Before we get into Market Matters, Si, public service announcement, not on my behalf, but apparently the people out there would probably want to know this. The Swifties have won.
What did they win?
Taylor Swift is now officially the biggest artist or the wealthiest artist
And no one is
in
surprised.
the world. And that means wealthier than Beyonce, wealthier than Rihanna. So, for context, Rihanna is, or actually, let's perhaps start with Beyonce because she would rank third on this list, according to Forbes. Beyonce's net worth is $760 million. This is according to Forbes, folks. Not my numbers. I didn't make this up. Rihanna's estimated net worth is around $1.4 billion. Taylor Swift comes in at $1.6 billion. Now, what's even more astounding around that is
1.6.
1.6
She's more than 2
billion.
But sure.
More than 2 Beyoncés. Don't say that to the Beehive. We're not going to spark an international incident here, folks. We're just sharing the numbers that Forbes put out. Beehive, please don't come after us. Swifties, please don't go after the Beehive. Please don't make this ugly. We're just giving numbers. We're just the numbers people. Please leave us alone. So yes, Taylor, oddly enough, the interesting fact around the 1.6 billion is she's become possibly one of the first artists, and I want to just check if this is, so she's officially the richest female musician as a result of this, right?
Oh, male.
But she's also the first singer to earn $1 billion from her music alone. She's earned 1.2 billion of the 1.6 billion net worth from her music collection.
And that includes that insane tour that she did.
Yes.
Yeah.
And buying back her masters and her catalog and all of that stuff. So that's all we're going to say on that matter. Again, please, Beehive, please, Swifties, leave us out of it. We're just the numbers people. Let's get into market matters because there's a lot to dive into. There's a lot that has been taking place. We know that we've got a couple of numbers coming out this week and we'll get back to those. But I want us to start with an overview just perhaps of... Actually, let's start with Larry. CEO of BlackRock, the largest asset manager on the planet by a long shot.
Yeah.
Appointed as co-chair of the World Economic Forum. Now, for context, the World Economic Forum was founded by a gentleman named Klaus Schwab. No relation, interestingly enough, to Charles Schwab. But yes, Klaus Schwab founded this and has stepped down as of April of this year as the chair. And in his place, we now get 2 co-chairs, and one of those is Larry Fink. Surprised?
Yeah. I mean, yes. The flip side, what does the World Economic Forum do apart from Davos and some reports and the like? I am surprised, I think. I just suppose they are the World Economic Forum. I suppose having the man who basically runs asset management the world over, stick him on. Okay, yeah, fair enough, I guess.
What does that mean, though, for the world? Because
well, yeah,
for BlackRock, that already effectively controls a lot of the world and is invested in a lot of the world, to now have a say at possibly one of the biggest gatherings of global leaders or one of the biggest Swiss parties. I don't really know. I've never been to Davos. Maybe one day someone will invite us.
In the olden days, SAFM used to present from Davos.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Who was it back then? I can't even remember. But certainly, anyway. And then they changed the rules. But who wants to be cold?
I don't know if they changed the rules or if it became a financial headache.
Yeah.
But,
You know. But who wants to be cold in January? So I take your point, absolutely. But I think we've moved past that in terms of worries around conflicts of interest and who's running the show.
Or certain people don't have conflicts of interest apply to them.
Yeah, or should foxes run the hen house? I really think we've moved past that. I would certainly think it should raise an eyebrow, but well, heck.
Well, you're not the CEO of a multi-trillion-dollar asset manager. So
Mundo. and nor have I ever been to a World Economic Forum event.
See? So
I'm
actually
0 for 2.
Well, there we go. Perhaps the organizers of the World Economic Forum would love to have us there. We'd do our show from there. I think we could do a great show from there covering Davos next year.
No, do they have someone do they do like
There's somewhere
Hawaii?
warmer.
Maybe Brazil.
Somewhere with a beach.
Yeah. I'm thinking like that, like Cape Town. I don't know. Cape Town in summer.
I forgot Sai's love for beaches is unmatched and unprecedented. While we are looking at other things, before we get into the company results that are coming out this week, I want to reflect on some updates. We have previously covered some of these conversations in the past, and we're just providing a bit of context and a bit of updates around that. Last week, the most recent update, last week we covered the GP, it was last week or the week before, we covered the GPAA, the Pension Funds Administration Agency. They were set to be involved in R1 billion worth of leases that didn't really make sense.
Ah,
and
the
those
ghost
sorts of-
workers. The ghost building.
Yes. The ghost contracts, right? Interestingly enough, the Government Employees Pension Fund, the GEPF, has come out to express that they're concerned around that particular statement. I mean, who knew? It only took us having a concerned conversation for the GEPF to realize that they should be concerned about it. I'm sure people were concerned about it from the onset, but it's nice to finally see that someone is worried about us spending R1 billion of taxpayers or pensioners' funds on leases that don't really make sense.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the question is, the skeptics were going to be, concerns are nice, but they don't, does anything happen? Does the contract get pulled, or does someone get fired, or does they get keys to the building? Because by all accounts, they need a building, and it met many of the requirements, except for the access part. But
parts
it needed
where
to
they
be
need
within 500 meters of a public transport. All of those were cool. Just you couldn't access.
It wasn't your building to do.
Well, yeah, that was a complexity. But yeah, I mean, it's only fair that steps in and says, like, guys,
what's going on? Absolutely.
What is happening?
Interestingly enough, while we're looking at things that are being questioned here and responsibilities being taken, I covered a story on the radio show last week around CETAs. The training authorities and all of that. There's a research report that was done by a couple of smart people along with the Bureau for Economic Research that suggests that over the 13 years or so that they've looked at, the last 13, dating back to I think 2014 or 2012-ish, CETAs have received from the Skills Development Levy 165 billion rand with a B.
Wow.
And what do we have to show for it? Now, there's about 21 CETAs in the country at the moment.
Yeah.
And most of those are undergoing reshuffles. Most of those are undergoing changes in terms of leadership and board changes and all of that. And I can't help but wonder, is that enough accountability or not? But I mean, 165 billion over 13 years, told you, no one can spend it like South Africa can. And we have no problem generating
Yeah,
it.
and the idea of CETAs is a really good thing. And I mean, that's about 13 billion a year. It's $1 billion a month. It's a lot of cash.
A lot of money.
I would argue that we're not really seeing it very much. I don't know. Where are our lower unemployment, higher GDP numbers, which is in large part what CETAs are designed for, right?
So, you want some stats on the CETAs? Of that 165 odd billion rand, around 2.6 million people have registered for the CETAs. Only 2 million have completed. So less than 3 million people.
And I need to do some math here, because this is too many zeros for my head.
While you do the math, I'll give you the next update. The next update is Marion Roberts. We had previously covered Marion Roberts as a suspended chair in one of our segments when we were looking at Marion Roberts on the wall, and as part
56,000 per person. That's a year at WITS.
56,000 per person. Yeah. No, I think that math is a little off.
169 billion divided by 3 million.
169 billion
divided by 3 million people.
Oh, divided by 3 million people. Okay.
56,000 a person.
Yeah, okay. That sounds right.
Yeah, that's a WITS degree.
Yes.
Well, first year, but...
Well, I mean, again, if you ask the 2.6 million people that have registered for these, whether or not they got that in terms of quality of outcome, that's a different conversation. But nevertheless, we are spending the money as South Africa. We are spending the money.
Okay, sorry. Back to Marion Roberts.
Back to Marion Roberts. They have officially closed after 120 years in South Africa and listed on the JSE. We now no longer have a Marion Roberts. We still have, or may not have, a construction mafia, which we won't get into because we don't want to upset anybody out
so
there.
They sold one of their businesses to Differential Capital, which is wild because they're a hedge fund management. And they do, I've chatted with one or two of the guys there, they do epic stuff. Like they count cars going to shopping centers and stuff like that. Anyway.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's somebody else. Anyway, they do epic stuff in that regard. So Marion Roberts, my dad worked for them in the 70s.
Really?
Yeah. He built a couple of things. One of them was a coal mine somewhere in northern KZN, airport in Gaborone, amongst things. There was a really good article on Currency News. I think Julieta Televi, Rob Rose, I think, wrote it a couple of months back, basically throwing the current management under the bus and saying they did it, the old managers coming back and throwing the new managers, which is a little bit. But I mean, truthfully, the peak for construction in this country post 94 was World Cup, and they all made giant profits, and we know how they did that, right? Collusion.
So,
I mean, if your peak profit requires collusion, and then they all go offshore and stuff. And the thing with being a construction company is your margins are tiny. Your edge is skills. So, if I'm a good, I don't know, bridge or road builder or something like that, then you can, grab my, those skills are movable. I think I've told the story before. In the 70s, my dad and his team bought out a German engineer for something. And we all went to meet him at the airport in Durban because it was so exciting. Because, I mean, to be clear, how did you find a German engineer in the 70s? I mean, who did you write a letter to?
well, it wasn't to a gentleman named Adolf. So
No.
thankfully,
And there's no LinkedIn. There's no, I mean, I don't know
there's
how
no
you-
Facebook. There's no
But
social media.
but
There's-
those skills are infinitely movable. And so then everyone went offshore, South America, North America, Asia, Brazil. And what did you do when you went there? Well, you find all your South African companies there and all the other companies, Chinese, Italian, etc., also in that market, and the existing people. And your edge is either your technical ability, which is commoditized, or price, which is buy margins. And it has been the globalization of construction. I don't know where your edge is anymore.
It's very interesting because now I used to think that perhaps your edge would lie in your order book. But in looking at that, even if you pipeline an order book, you end up in a situation where you're having to sell off your Australian business because something else is not performing well. You know, I mean, this has happened in the construction space.
Yeah. And order books, and I did this a long time ago, so it might be out of date. I maybe did this a decade ago. I went back, every year they tell you what their order book is in their results. And then so
Pipeline for the new year. Yeah.
I took those numbers and I rolled them into future revenue.
So that's
So the world's largest construction company is China State Construction Engineering Corporation. Note the state part.
yes.
Operates in 100 companies.
Well.
Sorry, 100 countries. Other one is the China Railway Group, state-owned. China Railway Construction Corp, state-owned. And then French Vinci.
What was the largest one you said? China?
The China State Construction Engineering Corporation.
State Construction Engineering Corporation.
Yeah.
That is a very, very long name.
That is a mouthful.
That is a mouthful.
Yeah.
I want to see if they are the ones.
It's all China. And then number 5 is Vinci. And I don't recognize any of these as listed names.
Well, I saw something quite interesting that said that there was a point where I think 9 out of the decision makers in the People's Republic of China government at some point, I saw very briefly, I think it was this morning on my way here, are engineers. And so Chinese leadership is almost hardwired to build. And it's quite interesting because now you're saying,
Yeah,
you're
'cause
bringing up these numbers and it supports that.
So in politics and corporates, it's usually CAs. In politics, it's usually lawyers. Yeah, I know.
Not in China. In China, they
in
all have
China.
engineering qualifications, amongst other things. Possibly some of them are doctors, mathematicians. I doubt if any of them are lawyers. That'd be interesting to see.
Does China have? They must have lawyers.
They should have
I know
lawyers. It's
nothing
hard.
about the Chinese legal system, except that when you get guilty, they take you outside and shoot you. No questions.
Don't be
Bang, bang.
Don't be found guilty in China, lest you want to find yourself on the receiving end of bang bang. Okay, let's wrap things up with a look at this week.
Yeah.
Markets are doing well. Everybody is floating on a cloud at the moment.
All-time highs, ching ching.
That's it. Despite the fact that we are seeing a significant policy shift from the US Fed, which could have disastrous impacts on the market. That's what's coming up in the deep dive. So tune in for that later in the week. But today, we have Sasol results out.
Yeah.
And later this week, we have CrowdStrike and more importantly, NVIDIA.
So the Sasol numbers, not bad. And I mean, I'm currently holding Sasol because I'm finally, it broke my technical level. I know you've been there, you've already doubled your money. I'm slow to the party. That cash flow, free cash flow, 12 billion versus 7. That was a big number. That was a big number.
Well, it helps to get a 4 billion injection from...
Semantics, but an absolutely big number. CrowdStrike, NVIDIA is the big one. See, here's what the folks must look for. It is Wednesday. Is it aftermarket close? It usually is.
Should be aftermarket, yeah.
I think NVIDIA is usually
Wednesday,
aftermarket.
Wednesday the 27th.
Aftermarket. Earnings per share, they're looking for year on year to be up around, where are we? There we go. Second quarter, around 48%. So that's earnings per share. They need to beat that quarter on quarter, up 25%. And sales up 53% year on year. Interestingly, only up about 4% quarter on quarter. But basically, they're looking to increase sales by, call it 50%.
My question is, how does the market, and I suppose we'll only really know on Wednesday or Thursday-ish, whether NVIDIA hits or misses, the market doesn't react the way we think it should.
Yeah, look, unless they, I mean,
unless it's a wild miss,
unless
perhaps?
they do it's a wild miss or a wild beat. You know, if they do 25 instead of 50, or if they do 75 instead of 50. But if they just,
if they do 52, then it's just like, oh, well, now you've let us down because you've hit 50% and above.
So what I'm looking for there, and it's small in their world, but I'm looking for two things. One is their sales of those H20s to China. Because remember, they had to write them down because they couldn't sell them. Then they could maybe sell them, but they got to give 15% to Trump. I mean, whoever, to the Americans,
someone.
to someone. So that's interesting. And then the second thing is Jensen Huang keeps on talking about how the next big thing is automotive. And I want to see how that's coming along. So self-driving cars, they've got chips that do all of that. I'm interested how, because we know how the AI is doing.
Well, they're building supercomputers for everything, aren't they?
Correct, Armando.
So, NVIDIA results coming out later this week. Sasol results out today. CrowdStrike results out as well. These are all stocks we've had on our wall of preferred picks. Not financial advice, folks, just our thoughts around those stocks. We will see how the numbers continue to unfold and see what we update from that perspective. But this is where we're going to leave our Market Matters. Thanks, folks, for joining us. Thank you for jumping onto our chats and letting us know that you are with us. If you missed any of the conversation, don't worry about it. It pops up in the live tab on our YouTube channel after this conversation, and the rest of the show obviously will be dropped later in the week. But for now, that's Market Matters.